Welcome back to the Housewives News Network. I'm your host, Taylor J, and you can follow me on social media. You can find those at the bottom of your screen. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave your comments, because I feel like we have so much that we're going to be talking about this season when it comes to the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 8. And we're talking about episode 1, which the title is Projections and Deflections. And let me tell you, there was a lot of deflecting in this episode. So just like I did the Beverly Hills premiere last week, I'm just going to go through it by cast member. And we're going to start with Robyn Dixon. Let's just get right into it. So we see the way that the episode opens, kind of like a true crime doc type feel, with these reenactments and very sinister like editing effects, basically going over the drama between Robyn and Juan toward the end of last season, or at least when the season was over, because all this stuff came up after filming was done and around the season finale when Robyn and Juan got remarried, because then they had to do like a special Watch What Happens Live with Andy pretty much asking Robyn some questions about this situation, about a woman in Canada or from Canada who comes to Maryland and she needs a hotel room, but she lost her wallet. And then I guess, Juan shows up and puts the card down for her hotel room and then leaves, right? Which sounds very weird. It sounds like it makes no type of sense. No matter how many times they tell the story, it's never really going to come together, especially when he is supposed to be a man who is committed to Robyn. But also, like the ladies were saying, her friends, Charisse, Ashley, Giselle, it's also about the optics of everything too. So right away, we get a sit-down scene between Robyn and Juan, and it was a very long scene, I would say. And it was very interesting to me because I feel like this is the most we've ever heard Juan talk about anything personal. It's pretty clear that Juan has not really been one for the Real Housewives of Potomac. We are on the 8th season, and at one time have we ever seen him at a reunion to back Robyn up or to answer certain questions related to their personal life. But now when your feet is really held to the fire and people are talking about you, not only on social media, but, we've seen articles, we've seen blogs, YouTube videos, all types of things. Now you want to sit down and try to bring everything to light, or you want to try to tell your side of the story, which to me kind of made it disingenuous, because I could tell that it was something that seemed like it was pre-planned, that it was staged, that it's like, okay, this is what you guys need to do so that we can move on from this. This is probably what, they're thinking. Like, let's just talk about it. Let's just kind of hash it out one-on-one. And then maybe we can like walk away from it. But it seems like it's not going to be that simple, especially because not only was it the situation with the woman in Canada, but also with one of Juan's co-workers. He was a basketball coach, I want to say at Coppin State, which is a historically Black college and university. And he was seen at the nail salon with this lady, which one of the reenactments were in the opening edits. And then also they were seen together at the laundromat. And it's this woman, she's a very attractive lady. And again, it just looks very suspect, especially because you guys had just gotten married. People are already questioning, if this is a real relationship between them or not. And, this is what you choose to do. So the opening scene was very, very interesting to me. Like I said, this is the most that I recall us ever hearing Juan talk about anything personal. We might get a little scene from him here or there where he's irritated or agitated or seems annoyed or what have you. And here we're getting like 10 minutes, of this repeated story that no one still believes, that even her friends are looking at her sideways, and that is definitely the deflections there. And then we get an opportunity to check in with Candace, Karen, and Wendy. So we get mostly a personal scene from Candace this episode. She and Chris, they go and have a picnic together, and they're talking about just her work and her music. She's still touring. She's doing shows. She recently did some shows where she had some other housewives that were part of it, including Drew Sidora from Atlanta. So we're still kind of getting that from her. Let's see, with Wendy, she's just talking about how she kind of went through the Lent season and decided that she wasn't going to drink alcohol during that time. And then she has like this rosary in her purse. And she's talking about, keeping the peace and things like that. And that's interesting because as we see in the trailer for the season, the new housewife, Nneka, who was also African, I want to say she's Nigerian as well. They kind of clash because Nneka is saying that Wendy's family practices witchcraft. So it was very interesting that, she just so happens to pull out this rosary, and we've never really heard her talk about her faith before, as this potential storyline is coming up. And I believe this is going to come out next week because Ashley Darby can't help herself, and she's already going to get the party started between the new girl and Wendy, driving them apart already. But that's besides the point. Karen, she and Robyn just are not seeing it for each other. Last season, I want to say Wendy, Karen had brought out that Juan has another woman and she's like, or she looks like me. And then they have like a little sketch or whatever. And it's funny because now this picture of Coach Bree, which is the name of Juan's colleague, is surfacing on Twitter. And she actually does kind of look like a younger version of Karen, even though Robyn was saying that Bree looks like her, which is very interesting. But, maybe Karen did hear right from the streets. But that has ultimately driven a wedge between Karen and Robyn, and I believe also the sit down between Candace, Wendy, and Karen is showing that, I guess this is a group, this is a crew, and then the other ladies are a whole other cluster. So there's definitely looking like there's going to be some division here in the group. Mia, she has an interesting story going as well. As you know, she and G are separated. G is saying that she is a gold digger. She married him for the money and she left him to be with an upgrade. And this is not shocking news, I would say, to anyone, because also in the trailer, they ask her, did she marry him for the money? And she says, maybe I did, or something along those lines. It's not a shocker to me. One thing that was shocking is when she said that they went from an almost 11,000 square foot condo to 1,500 square feet. I'm like, I would have been out the door too. Like, geez, that's a bit of a difference there. But, she shared the story about how she and G got together. She was the mistress and he ended up leaving his wife for her. And I mean, it works out for some people, but I don't always think that it's going to be a happily ever after there, just as we're seeing now. So they got kicked out of the joint chiropractic, got locked out of the bank accounts, and had a lot of business issues, which ultimately, caused their finances to dwindle. And so their life is very different right now. They're living in a very tight space. And in the episode, they talk about how Gordon was in a bit of a depression, for I think she said like maybe 3 months or something like that. He was sitting on the couch, and in that it seemed like they were kind of sticking together, but we know in real time that that's not the case. Gordon did a video putting Mia on blast and everything like that. So will we see their marriage start to fall apart as the season goes on? Maybe we will. We'll have to stay tuned and see, but it's definitely interesting knowing what we know now and then seeing how things are playing out in their personal life at the time. Giselle, actually, I think I'm gonna do Ashley last. So Giselle, we see her at home and she has Jason, her new beau from Winter House there. 16-year difference. Okay, she got her a young tenderoni, as she likes to call him, and they're making sushi, and I think it's cute. So she says, I believe he's in New York and she's in Maryland, and they see each other when they can, which she says that she likes because she doesn't want someone up under her. And in this scene, I really enjoyed it. I feel like Giselle was being very pleasant, which we don't see a whole lot. And then she was talking about how Grace is getting ready to go off to college, and she took the girls to Dubai on a vacation. It was a very light, very fun scene to me. Toward the end of the episode, she calls Ashley and they have a sit down with Robyn. Charisse was there as well. And they just, they're like, we have to be real with you. What's going on? Are you okay? And again, it's the deflecting of Robyn just saying, her joy has been taken, but it has nothing to do with Juan. What am I supposed to say to him? Like, don't hang with your friends. It's just, I don't know where Robyn's head is when it comes to this. If she's just trying to kind of keep the peace or try to keep it locked for the sake of keeping the job, for the sake of, having a family. I don't know what it could be, or maybe keeping the family because Juan, he doesn't have his parents, excuse me, and that's why he and Robyn have known each other for so long. Or maybe it's the fact that they've been together for so long and she just doesn't want to let it go. Because there is speculation still if they're even married at all. I believe Candace mentioned that the marriage certificate, no one has seen it, and maybe they've had it hidden. I don't know, but it's really difficult to see Robyn in that position as a woman. I've never been married, granted, but I just wouldn't want to see any woman who is beautiful, who has so much going for herself, who is educated. We actually went to the same college, go Terps, you know, deal with the embarrassment that has come from this. I can't even imagine the emotional and mental toll that it might be taken on her. They have young children, having to always answer to your friends and dealing with the public scrutiny. Is it really worth it all? And I respect Giselle, Charisse, and Ashley for being real with her, because they are all women who have been married, dealing with separations or divorces, and they feel for their friend, and they want their friend to be okay. They want their friend to be happy, and they want their friend to thrive. And it might take a while for them to get through to Robyn, but I'm also glad that Giselle is holding her accountable as well, because they're the Green Eye Bandits, they're freaking frack. We've never really seen them kind of go toe to toe about anything before, except for maybe when Giselle was insinuating that Chris was in her DMs or did something to make her feel uncomfortable. Robyn definitely spoke up and spoke out about that. So that's what friends are supposed to do. And I think that was a very real moment. I just hope that Robyn snaps out of it. Like, stand up, girl, stand up, and do it for yourself. Stand up and be on your own 10 and not let this man continue to jack you around, for your own well-being and for your own self-sufficiency. As far as Ashley, speaking of self-sufficiency, we learned that she's still not divorced, but she's living in her $2 million or so home that she called Coastal Chic, which is very coastal, no chicness. I didn't see anything that would make me think, oh my gosh, I love that home decor. Maybe she and Giselle had like the same interior decorators. But she's talking about how, she and Michael, they're still separated. They're doing this co-parenting thing. He's paying child support. But she's just kind of taking her time with the divorce. And it's most likely because she probably can't stand on her own without Michael providing for her. And I'm hoping that, Ashley develops something. I believe she and Giselle have a clothing line together, like athletic wear or something like that. But Ashley, my advice to her too is to get like Candace, get like Karen, get like Wendy, and start something. You are on a major platform. You've been on there for 8 years. There's got to be something that you can create, that you can make an income for yourself and your sons, and you don't have to be tied to Michael anymore. I mean, who would want to be, honestly, So, and it's funny. Everyone's talking about how her sons, Dean and is it Dylan? I think it's Dylan and Dean. They were trying to get up on the counter, and Dean is the oldest one. Dean is pulling Dylan up on the counter, and everyone's just like, oh my gosh, these boys are going to fall and hurt themselves. Like, my grandma was even freaking out about it. And as she's talking about, how hard it is being a single mom, but she has this nanny, but not even watching the boys and their safety. So hopefully, she keeps a closer eye on them. But just based on this episode, I think it was a good start. I think it was a good way of kind of just catching up. Especially based on everything that happened last season. It's really all about Robyn and Juan this first episode. Like I said, we didn't get a lot of personal stuff from Wendy or really Karen just yet, but I see that it's going to come. Next episode is when we're going to meet Nneka, the newest housewife, and Ashley brings her in as her friend, and she's already bringing the drama. So it's going to be something to see. But let me know what you guys think of this first episode. Married to Medicine was on point as well. I have a recap on that coming soon. Just you wait, because I have a lot of thoughts about Miss Sweet Tea. Now, again, follow me on social media. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can find all that down at the bottom of your screen. I'll see you guys next time.